Welcome everyone, my name is Paula Phillips, also known as JournalArtista, and we're here on a Saturday night over on Ustream. If you're watching this on YouTube, if you're watching the recording on YouTube, I do this live at 9 p.m. Eastern. Well, soon it's going to be Eastern Standard Time rather than Daylight Time, but Eastern. Uh, and I am talking to people in a live chat. So if you hear me make comments and answer questions, it's because I'm talking to people that are here live. And I would love to have you live over on Ustream. There's a link in the bottom. All right, so tonight I thought that I'd use two of my wonderful friends gifted me some Deli paper. There's two different kinds. One came from Sam's Club and one came from Costco in the US. I am from Canada, so that does make difference. So one of them, the one from Sam's Club, seems to be thicker. Maybe it's just a different run. From a box maker, uh, you could have, boxes could just be a different color depending on the tree they use, even though it's the exact same weight and standard and strength and all that goodness. Anyway, so it is a little bit different. The one from Costco does seem a little bit thinner. So I will try them both out. I also got some parchment paper I just took off a roll. And parchment paper is not waxed at all. And for somebody said that parchment paper wouldn't work, and I didn't try it. Silly me. So I'm going to try that tonight. They say that paint won't stick on it, which doesn't make sense. And I can't remember who said that to me. So, or maybe they were thinking something different. Maybe they thought I meant wax paper, not parchment paper. So we'll try those tonight. I've also used a jelly plate before on the Tim Holtz tissue wrap. And I love the tissue wrap. And I actually just bought some more yesterday. I love it so much, all the different designs. So I'm going to kind of do the same thing, but however, not start with a printed background like on the Tim Holtz tissue wrap. I'm starting out with plain. And tonight I'm going to use Artist Seller stencils, and we did use some of these before, so excuse me, I don't clean my stencils very often. But this is the Kaleidoscope series by Celia Swatton. I hope I pronounced her name right. Cecilia. And it's called Kaleidoscope series. It comes in a 4 stencil set, or you can buy them separately. But I thought that I would do some jelly plating tonight on this deli paper. Create like a little series, if you will. Only using those 4 stencils in different combinations. And I did get out some of my texture. I carry love, my wonderful friend who is not here tonight. I hope she's doing well and her family's doing well. We're thinking about her. But she's got me addicted to using just scrap cardstock with embossing folders that I have to get some texture for that first layer. So I've got a whole bunch of those going on. I've got my stencils ready. I've got my paper ready. I have a bigger book over here. I use, and I think I've shown this before, but let's go through it again real quick. This is the 11 by 14 mixed media journal, and this is what I use to brayer off stuff. Well, there's some stencils. If I'm using a 12 by 12 stencil, I do throw it into this journal if it's got excess spray on it or whatnot, because it's big enough. But this is where I brayer off when I'm doing my mono printing on my jelly plate. And from there, that's where I create these type of paintings that, I've showed more than once. So beside me here, as you can see, I just have the random, and some of it gets real ugly, right? But that's currently what I'm using this journal for. And some of it sticks, so you got to be careful that you don't close your book on a wet stencil that has a wet paint on it. But anyways, I just put this off to my side over here, because when you're using the jelly plate or any type of mono printing, you do get a bunch of excess paint that you want to get off. Now I'm going to be using some craft paint, and that's and cheap craft paint at that. This is Deco Art from Dollarama here in Canada, and it's primarily because I want it to dry fast while we're working here. So I don't want to use any of my Liquitex Basics or anything like that. All right, just a reminder, anybody is saying something to me, asking a question, put a heart and capital letters, and that'll help me see. I would really appreciate it. But anyways, it dries really fast, and I don't want to use too much of the hair dryer or heat gun tonight. So I'm just gonna get out a bunch of colors, gonna put them in front of me here, and like I said, this is cheap craft paint and smelly too. If you're Canadian and you own some, you know what I mean. All right, so I've got purple, green. I got enough colors. Now I just want to make sure I have black and white, navy blue. There we go. And I got black and white. Okay. Oh boy, we're talking about cake. All right, so my jelly plate, which is made by Gelli Arts. This is the 8x10, and I don't take care of it as well as I probably should. So, you know, it has dings. I don't clean it. You know, it is what it is, and I'm not apologetic for it. Just taking a little sip of coffee. All right, so I got a brayer. Actually, I got two brayers going on. I like to use this one. I guess it's 6 inches. I believe it's 6 inches. Yep. Just because it's almost the entire size of the plate. This one, of course, this is a standby. I have this guy over here too. So we're ready. Paper, stencils, things. Got it. All right, let's go. So I'm going to choose some brighter colors first. Let's see, lavender, and let's go for some purple and pink. And as we go on, maybe you can help me by choosing some colors. But in these kaleidoscope, you know, when I think of a kaleidoscope, you think lots of colors, right? And, you know, all different colors and whatnot. So that's why I've got quite a bit of a rainbow here. But right now I'm just going to do some backgrounds. Got a little paint. Now really, it is an ongoing learning process, monoprinting. I guess that's why they call it monoprinting, because you only can never get it done get the same effect one time. But what I struggle with is the amount of paint. How much paint to put on. It's an ongoing battle. That's for sure. Alright, I've got something on my brayer there. Do you see those little spots? So let me get a baby wipe here. One thing about jelly plating for me too is that when I first started, I wanted to put the paint down, and then I wanted to put a stencil on there right away and do your pull up, right? Your first pull. And which is fine if you're on a page that already has some type of paint or print on it. But I don't really like how it looks. And this, I don't want to be too long. But to me, it looks awkward when I get too much of that white space. So I'm going to do some backgrounds first, and then I'll show you that in a minute. All right. You'll just know what I mean when I get it done. So I had some gobs there on my brayer, which is fine. Just remove with baby wipes. Now, like I said, these are just embossed folders. Some of them are Tim Holtz. Some of them are not. They're all different kinds. And I just bought another one from Walmart the other day. Like my friend Carrie says, I'm excited to finally use them. Alright, I did do a video over on YouTube where I just used the entire embossing plate and throw it down there. I'm not, I'm not what's the word I'm looking for? I'm not too particular to get my supplies dirty, right? Some people don't want paint on their embossing folders, and I understand that. So, all right. So I don't know. I'm putting two different. I'm using parchment on one side, and then I overlapped a little bit of the one deli paper over here. And get this one pulled. Oh, can't see a thing. Of course you can't see a thing, because it's not on anything. But on this side, you can see it. Hi, Sharon. Hey, Jen. Sorry, I was just looking up. Good to see everybody. So this was a fail. That's bad news. I think it's I don't see a thing. All right, but I got a little bit of something on my plate here. I'm not giving up on that yet. Maybe it was because it was light, color, who knows what. So this time I'll add a little bit of, and I'm not going to clean it in between. Welcome, Addicted to Crafts. Sorry the chat goes fast, sometimes I can't see everybody. But I do have on the side now a bunch of, I can see a bunch of people. What I mean is, I can see everybody that is in the chat. All right, let's try take two. Take two. Maybe I need to do a full dark base before. I'm talking to myself now because, I haven't tried this. This time, let's put some stencils down. And you don't have to worry. If you've got 6x6 stencils and a bigger plate, maybe you only have little stencils. It doesn't matter. Just put them, overlap them. You can get a bunch of different patterns. All right, this time I'm going to go right down over top and see what happens. But you can really see through this. So what I was mentioning about the amount of paint, it's a never-ending battle. And, it's always, the variables always change as well. Because, yeah, black paper instead. Yeah, maybe a black paint. Because the thickness of paint matters, the thickness of stencil matters. So now this is what I mean when you get kind of that white background. And over here, I got something. I got a little something. But when you have thinner paper, see right now I might be using too much. Move this guy over slightly. Maybe I'm using too much paint. This is the parchment again. Let's see. I've got a whole roll of parchment that it's a no-name brand. I don't suggest you buy no-name. Only because it's hecka hard to get off the... See, that didn't have enough paint to do anything. It's very hard to get off the roll, to cut it. These are from Artist Seller. Yes, Sharon. This is the Kaleidoscope series, which just came out. Is today the 24th? Yesterday. They were just released yesterday. It's probably not as easy to see as in when you'll be able to see it on my plate here, thanks to Ustream. Okay, so I do have some goodness there. Let us go. So this is what Janet sent me, and I can't remember if she said shiny or non-shiny side, so I'm going to do the non-shiny and see what happens. So I'm assuming you use the same techniques on the different paper, but, well, that's better. That one is nice. I think that the first time when I use the embossing folders, because I'm using a translucent paper, you're not going to see it because you wouldn't see it unless you put it on, like Corey said, unless you put it on black paper. All right. So, where did that other piece, like I said, when you use deli paper and such, it just starts going flying. Stuff is flying everywhere. It just floats away. Okay, let's try a couple more colors. Let's see, some red and orange. Oh, you work full time now, Corey? That's great. Well, I guess good and not. I guess it's good and not so good. I don't know which way you think it. But I'm thinking that maybe because deli paper is thinner, you need a thinner coat of paint. But look at that. That paint wasn't any good. Maybe you need a thinner coat of paint because you're using thinner paper. My favorite part of art journaling or mixed media or any of what I do, any of the paper arts, is experimenting, is trying different things and playing around. All right, let us try that again. This time I'm just going to push the stencil down. Let's see if we can put it down, lift it up. The same stencil. So it is picking up. I hope you guys can see that well enough. I know I'm off center my camera's not on center anymore. But I was hoping that maybe I could get some paint off some of these stencils, but it's probably a sign that I don't use enough. I shouldn't say enough. I don't use a lot of paint on my Gelli plate, and therefore I don't get very good impressions necessarily from the when I pull the stencils off the plate. Alright, so I got a little bit of something there. So this is the parchment, and this is fine. This is sticking. Look. I know, I streamed pretty early. You know, I was thinking, so next Saturday I will be in Newfoundland. My flight is at 7 o'clock in the morning. See, it doesn't show up too much. That one didn't anyway. So my flight is early, and I'm going to add some yellow to this hot mess. So I don't know if I'll be streaming next Saturday. Because, hi Sharon. So I got 2 of my Sharons here tonight that I can see so far. Yeah, so then I'm thinking that if I stream at my regular time, 9 Eastern, in Newfoundland that's going to be 10:30 at night. Although, you know, I'll kind of still be on my regular time anyways. And there is a time change, so it'll be more about, I'll have to see. I mean, my stepmother is there. I might not be able to stream Saturday night. I might have to maybe Sunday or something like that. Alright, little bit of some stamp in there. This time I just want to check something. Or check is not the right thing. Let me try. This is the other deli paper. Oh yeah, you do get ads. Some of the ladies in the chat may help you out with that. Don't want to say it out loud. It does feel cool, this stuff, though. I mean, look at how translucent. I mean, it almost goes completely transparent. But when you pull it up, I don't see much. But at the same time, we're going to use this on a project later. So maybe when I glue it down, we'll be able to see something on it. Or when we add more layers here shortly. Alright, I'm trying to make sure that all my little pieces aren't floating away. So I'm going to go into a little bit darker. Hey, Darcy. Hopefully, I apologize, guys, if I haven't said hello to you out loud. Sometimes the chat goes by so fast that I can't personally say hello, or I don't see it, but I try. Alright, so I got a little bit of blue, and maybe a tiny bit of purple. But to me, the fun is in the playing. I don't, the only time something bothers me if it doesn't work out is if I'm live. and then that's only because it messes, if I have something planned, it messes up my plans, and then I just go a little bit nuts or whatever. But alright, I like this one. What was I saying? I can't remember. I start thinking, oh yeah, you can't be worried. You have to be willing to create a mess. You can't make masterpieces if you can't make a mess. Alright, this time go back into the one that Jean sent right here. Now the good thing about Deli paper is that if you're using a very finely detailed stencil, you know, such as the Kaleidoscope series by Artist Seller here, you can get into every little crevice. If you're using a cardstock, sometimes you can't get any of those, you know, tiny areas. So there is that benefit for sure. The one thing, you know, and believe me, I've tried pretty much all the stencil companies, and Artist Seller is a very good way. It's not too thick, and it's not too, they're not too thin. I do like the thickness of their stencils. Alright. So this is what I mean about having so much of that, you know, well, this isn't white, it's something else, but you have so much of that space left. That's the type of thing. See, I should have done that pull onto this one if I was smart. Or if I had thought ahead, right? But I'm going to take these off. But I didn't, so that means we just need to work them out in a different way. Work it out in a different way. Alright. I thought I was only going to do 4 sheets of paper. Uh-oh. So some of this jelly paper, this Deli paper, I'm using Deli paper on a jelly plate. There's a tongue twister. It does have a fold in it, and I just got that fold when it, yeah, next time I'll do it, when it, the way it kind of flopped down, but I'm not going to be upset about it. We will work through it. That one turned out nice. I do like these pulls the best. But I can do something, okay, so we got, on that one we've got some blue and pink, so now I'll go into the orange and red, and I'll do some, yeah, yeah, sorry, you gotta use Huggies wipes. There's just, it's just, for what I do, you know, and a lot of us, Huggies seem to be the only answer. So that hazards of using really cheap paint is that it likes to separate, it's too thin, it smells, you know, all that good stuff, but I'm going to push through it here. Okay, so I'm going to do the exact same thing, and but I'm going to hang it off the plate a little bit, so I'm going to put it more, let's see, hang it there. There's different, in this set of 4, sorry, I'm not even on screen, this is bad news. My paints are invading my space here. There's 2 that, you know, are kind of a border, and then the other 2 stencils don't. They're more circles, I guess. I absolutely love this one. Alright, so I'm going to put them on 4 edges there. And now I'm going to go back. I'm going to take this print, and it's not quite dry, but well. So now I'm going to get the opposite effect. Lay this half on that side, and I have this other sheet over here. And just move your fingers around, work it around. Hey, Stephanie. Yeah, these, you know, I'm truly grateful for these awesome designs. That's for sure. Those five sets of stencils I got, I love them all. All right. So this to me, hot mess. But some people love that. To me, I don't know. But that's the thing. I'm going to challenge myself to use something like this tonight. Hi, Dixie. Yeah, it's Artist Seller. And it's just artistseller.com. Seller with an A-R, not an E-R. And this is the Kaleidoscope series. If you do happen to order from there, I don't get a commission or anything, but if you do mention that you were inspired by me, it does help me out, and I appreciate it. Alright. So now I got a little bit of that. So let's, I think it'd be a waste to use deli paper if I pulled black. What do you guys think? I guess it can't hurt. I'm just sitting here anyways. I'm going to get out the hair dryer. Maybe. Oh, it's stuck under my chair. Of course. There we go. Just going to take a cool hair dryer on the cool setting just to quickly dry this on my plate. I don't think it needs to be perfectly dry to pull that next print, but I'm going to do it anyways because I'm using deli paper. I want to make sure it's all dry so it all shows up. Cool gun. Oh, it's loud. Oh, I'm sure it'll work, but if you put it over black paint, if you put black paint on it, I'm sure it'll work. But you lose if you do the, what am I trying to say? If you use the black paint and then you use the deli paper, you're going to lose the translucency that the deli paper brings, right? And there's something clogged in this bad boy too. All right. And it's quite possible that I'm not getting the results that I think I should get because I'm using craft paint. So maybe we'll have to try one with, and when I say craft paint, it's junk craft paint. All right. So got a little bit of black going on. I definitely don't use enough black in my deli, when I do jelly printing in general. And I need to do that more. And I don't mean clean off prints like this. I just mean in those, in the other layers. When I'm adding the main layers. Gosh, my terminology is brutal tonight. Where did you order from, Stephanie? Oh, look at this. Interesting. Maybe that's my problem. I'm using the cheapest. Let's switch out some paints. Because that orange, if you looked at that, it didn't seem as vibrant. Maybe these craft paints are fine on, cardstock or whatnot, but I'm going to go even just one up to some Americana paint and see if we get any better results with this. Let's We'll try some Americana paint. Excuse me, and then we will try some Liquitex Basics, see if any of it makes any difference. I'm addicted to stencils. I've said it before. It's like rubber stamps. It's not enough. There's in my world, there's just never enough. It turned out to be freezer paper. Now, Sharon, see, in Canada, in the States is different. It's freezer paper, parchment paper. What Canada calls parchment paper. All right. So definitely going to get more pigment out of the Americana paints than the ones that are at, from the dollar store. At least a little bit more pigment anyways. Try her again. Alright, there's definitely orange left on this. So I'm going to do the same thing. These I'll put down here maybe. Alright, what can we print on? Oh, let's try this as one of the first ones that I thought was a fail. But maybe when we glue it down on something else, it'll work nice. Parchment and freezer paper are different. Oh, thanks, Corey. We wouldn't be here if we weren't all the same. Stencils and stamps. All right. Ooh, that looks better. See, now we got some color. Maybe the whole time I was just using the cheapest paints ever because I was worried about it drying. And no, like those dollar store paints, they're fine. Like when I do any of the, my mono printing or art journaling on white paper, on regular paper, it'll be, it's fine. Just maybe with the Deli paper, there's just not enough pigment. I don't know. Whoa, this one's going to be fun. I got lots of paint. I probably could have brayered some paint off of those stencils, but and these two are, that's what I ordered, and it's not dry waxed paper. Now to me, parchment and dry wax paper seem to be similar, but I was using peony pink and turquoise blue if anybody was interested in that. Let's see. See, this is parchment paper, what we call parchment paper in Canada, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with this. Maybe the person that I was talking to about it thought I meant freezer paper and it wouldn't stick. Yeah, Keurig has a new machine that has a carafe, but yeah, you have to buy a whole new machine. And it's different K-cups. Sorry, we had a little off topic. Because I'm a little passionate about my Keurig and K-cups too. From this point, you don't have to wait to put a cleanup, a different color for a cleanup, but I'm going to try some yellow here shortly. Maybe I won't even do it on the whole thing. For example, I got something going on here. Right, get a little bit of texture on that side. Maybe, ooh, I'm getting much better. And this is parchment paper. I'm quite pleased with that. Other than you can't rip it off the roll because it's no name brand. But but I'll stop complaining about that here. Yeah, I buy a lot of K-cups, but we have those stores. I don't know, in the US, do you have those K-cup stores where all they sell are like K-cups and Nespresso and all those fancy things? Jetstreams, SodaStream, Jetstreams, SodaStream. Drink some tea, Paula. Drink some tea. Oh boy. Okay, This time I'm going to clean up with some yellow. I'm going to use some light yellow, I think. This is apple barrel lemon chiffon. Lemon chiffon. Yeah, Bed Bath and Beyond. No, we have these stores that only sell K-cups, and you get the box. One's called Markol, ECS Coffee, but the Markol one, Markol, is here in town, and um, yeah, you can buy them singly. So you can get a box of 24, and buy them singly, or you can buy whole boxes and every flavor you ever imagine in your life. Delicious. I'm a little passionate about coffee too, so apologize for that. Hi, Jane. No, yeah, I need the coffee. Today, that's my problem. I'm drinking, maybe that's what it is. I'm drinking Rubius tea. Orange Rubius. And I find, I don't know, we're going back on the weight loss stuff again. I won't preach too long. But I do, if I have a nice tea at night that's like this orange Rubius tea, to me really tastes like a dessert. You can tell I don't eat much real sugar, right? But it's delicious, and it really helps my sweet tooth at night. It's a 6-inch brayer from the art store, which is Curry's here in Canada. I think it's really made for like linoleum printing or something, right? But if you go to the art store, there's multiple different types of brayers. All right. Cheapest prices for what? A Keurig? Still talking about Keurig machines? But I don't want to upgrade to the bigger one. I'm the only one who drinks the coffee anyways. Right. So when you do these cloth prints, you are supposed to rub more. But look at this is a fun, do you see that? It's like it feels funny. I don't know how to explain it. It feels like leather texture. Oh, ooh, a little too much paint, but look at that. Now we're cooking with Crisco. Now we're going somewhere. Oh, so I used too much paint there, if you notice, but I still got more. That was from the stuff that Jane sent. That turned out nice. I'll leave that to the side. I like that one for sure. All right, so I got this bad boy again. K-cups. You have to, yeah, I'm going to have to find you the, I guess I'm pretty lucky with the K-cup place right beside me. Close to me anyways. Trying to see if there's, so this is parchment. I need to send Jane a roll of parchment and have you play around with it, because I have no problem with this, but maybe it's going to be different when we glue it down. Maybe it won't be as translucent, so we shall try. All right, we also had this other one over here. So don't think that you have to pull, especially if I have a ginormous jelly plate. You don't have to use one sheet of paper, right? You can layer. And in fact, sometimes it frustrates me when I have 8.5 by 11 paper and an 8 by 10 jelly plate where you get that border. So to get around that, like what I always say, mess up on purpose, and then you don't get frustrated, and you get some cool things. So that nothing but crusties on that one. Waited too long. Nothing but crusties. I don't know who coined that one, which one of you guys, but ever since one of you said it, I can't help it. Tracing paper, that's a good idea, Darcy. Jane says parchment is better. So why is everybody, okay, somebody needs to explain this to me then. If parchment works, why is deli paper better? Because it completely goes clear when you stick it down? Let me see. I'm just thinking about colors. What do I have around me? I do have this hot mess. So I think this would have been 10 times better if I was using a better paint. Anyway, so we've got some purple. Let's use this blue. Yeah, let's put some blue on top instead. This time I think I'm just going to use a little bit of blue. Oh, I guess we'll add the pink on top. But I guess that's why we're trying it tonight, right? We're seeing all the different, see what happens. Make a mess. I actually was itching to do this all day. I could have practiced, but sometimes I feel that it's not, I like to show you exactly how my process is, right? I'm not afraid to fail in front of you guys. You know, some of my best videos are how not to use videos, right? So I thought, hey, I want this to be authentic. So I'm going to do the exact same thing. I want it to be authentic, so I waited to do it live. I think that's, you know, I guess that's the type of learner I am. I like, you know, I learn from my mistakes and other people's mistakes. Not just, I just don't want to see the final product. I want to see how you got there. And, you know, I think it's very intimidating when some artists don't share the mistakes and the messes they make and only share the art, because it's not reality. You have to make all these mistakes and and play around to see what happens. All right. Let's see, I've got this little piece over here somewhere. And maybe add some this corner. Oh yeah, the K-cup, the Keurig, you can make anything. They have K-cups for hot chocolates and iced tea and regular tea, any tea you can ever think of, and white hot chocolates, and oh my goodness, anything you can imagine. All right, just gonna work it in. I really like the deli paper, how it's, you know, it sinks in, so you can really tell if you've got the, might have to lift this one up to make sure I press underneath here. Oh yeah, and you can get the adapter. Definitely if you have a Keurig, get the little adapter so you can put in your own loose tea or coffee. So there's that. That's a lot of paint. It actually made it a little bit raised. That's on top of something else. I probably shouldn't have put that there. All right, let's see. Ooh, see, we got a little color there, a little something. Now maybe if we take these off. These guys are gonna, I'm using these stencils so much today, they're definitely gonna need a bath. Alright, so I'm flipping this around. So I put a little bit down there. I'm gonna use the opposite now on the other side and do a pull here. So you get those extra prints. The greater size. Oh, Glenn has a question? Yeah, K-cups for iced tea. Absolutely. K-cups for everything. Like I said, I have this store. I'm going to have to go in there and take a video of it, you know, or show you guys some pictures because it's pretty extensive. And just trying to look at, I've got all these papers floating around and trying to figure out where I can use that. Well, get another one. I liked it. Thank you so much, Jane. I love how, I actually really like how it's in that box and you just rip one out like a tissue. Yep, coffee and art, right, Dee Dee? Mm-hmm. Peach Snapple K-cups to make iced tea. Yep. I'm telling you, they make everything. Emerald Lagasse. I can't tell you how many people make K-cups. And And then of course, if you have the adapter, you can do, I like it. If you have the adapter, you can use any coffee or loose tea. So I don't even boil water anymore. This is a tea bag, although I have used loose, Robius teas and stuff from Tivana in in the refillable thing for the Keurig. This is a tea bag, but I don't even boil the kettle anymore. I just take out the K-cup thing, so there's no K-cup in there. I put it under, I just brew hot water. All right. So I do have a little bit there. Um, do I want to do a clean off print now? No. Let's wait for later. Let us wait. So under my papers here, we've got lots of blues and pinks. Lots of blues and pinks. Let's try as a top layer. So I want it to stand out, right? So let's try some orange that is Liquitex Basics. Now this is well, I'm gonna do a white clean off print. This is white craft paint, and then I'll do something with the orange, I think. Oh, I just bought this. I think it might have a thing on there. They were just released now. Says 9/24th release for the blog hop. I'm pretty sure they were released. I could be wrong. I can give a link here. I'll tweet a link out. Is Lisa in chat? Is she watching and not signed in to help us out? Carrie's not. What the? I took off that piece and there's still, you can't see it's white. There's still another piece of plastic there. Anybody else? Has anybody found them? Like I said, you guys are getting a little bit of a preview of these. So, oh, there's a piece of pencil shaving on there. That's strange. All right. So I can already tell that that's probably going to be too much paint, especially if I'm using Deli paper. So I'm going to have to, if I've got too much paint, I just go back over with my brayer a few times till it goes, till I can almost see, that ghost print underneath. See how we can just start seeing it there? All right. Try her again. I also use Starbucks. I buy the blonde roast coffee and then use it in the refillable. Instead of a K-cup, you just use the refillable one. I do like that. They're cheaper. You can buy Starbucks K-cups, but they're not cheap. That's for sure. All right, just want to get, I had a little bit of dry bits on my brayer there. Something is censored. Did somebody? They're under signature series. Let me get the links for you guys so that. Oh, hold on. I gotta redo my chat. Pop it out again. I apologize. And Ash is barking. Good times. All right. Touchy. All right, my links are on. Oh my goodness. What the devil? There goes my pop-out chat. I guess you guys weren't kidding when you said there was something. I don't know if it's Ustream or if it's just my printer. All right. Cartouche stencils? I don't think so, Darcy. I'll have to go look. I have to go look. I didn't go to the Creator Festival. I couldn't really afford it. Not only is the trip cost to go downtown, cost me about $25 return to go down. Not $25, $17. So I didn't get much going on there. A little bit, but I still think I had too much white paint. That's definitely an interesting texture right there. I'm gonna leave that on there. But we'll do some more layers on that. Okay, I'm gonna add some signature series. Thanks, Lisa. I appreciate it. I'm pretty sure I don't have cartouche, but I also love quasi crystals. Quasi crystals was the one I was using with the alcohol inks last Saturday, and I find that I know it's hard to see. That's what I was using last week. Or was that Thursday? I'm all messed up. I'm like, no, sorry, Wednesday. I forgot. How could I forget my stupid neck? But this is the Quasi series. Yes, I'm back. This is the ones we were using with the alcohol inks. I love this one. So the texture that I posted on Instagram and Twitter that y'all liked, it's yeah, exactly. Corey, is expensive to get into. So this is how I used that. And like I said, you can get, I really love this series, but if you only like a couple of them, then we're going on into something different here. Something different. I've got two sets mixed up. But I love them. I don't know how else to explain. Although maybe I haven't met a stencil that I didn't like. But there's lots of stencils that, what am I trying to say? There's stencils that I go to all the time, and they tend to be the chevrons, these type of patterns. I absolutely love them. Okay, Liquitex Basics. This is cadmium orange hue, so this is going to be a purple. An orange. It's going to be a pumpkin orange, and it's clogged. All right, we gotta fix that bad boy. That's for sure. So I got some white there. I got some orange. All right, let's do this. So like I said, I need to use more black in kind of these middle layers, not just for clean off prints. All right, I gotta be careful. I don't want just this to turn into all black. All right, spray her off here. Drink more tea? Writing what down? Oh my goodness. Okay. So let's see. Maybe this time I'll do them this way. Yeah, these stencils are gonna need a bath. They're getting a workout. So now there's not going to be anything in that middle part, but I'm just going to do some corners. So on all of these sheets, for example, I got this going on. Let me just put the stencil, see what happens. Put that one there. That one there. You should see me. I'm like scooched right back in my chair. Trying to make room. Not that one, needs some more stuff. Maybe this one. I'm thinking that the parchment paper isn't going to be translucent. The more I work with it here, I'm thinking it's not going to be translucent when no, do this one like this. It's not going to be translucent when glued down. I'm not sure what Jane is writing down. Did I say something funny? or something actually that meant something. Oh yes, Jane's marbled papers. Absolutely. I can't even explain what they're like. Love it. Oh, that's hot mess. That's bad news. I shouldn't have done that there. Little bit of something. See, it's so much better if you already have a background to pull when you're pulling these, when you're pulling prints through a stencil. I just think it looks so much better. Oh, they do like this. This came with some crusty bits came off of that one. All right, I think that's going to be nice. I'm just taking this sheet here. I got a little bit of something there. And I think we should try to start gluing some of these down to see what happens. What do you guys think? Now I'm going to use matte medium. If somebody else that has used this before in their projects. Oh, cadmium orange hue. This is good. Cadmium orange hue. This is going to be perfect. Oh my goodness. I don't know why I said purple. Oh, I like these. All right. I still got a little bit of something there. So let's pull that up with some white. Maybe I'll pull that up with white on my, whoa, what am I doing? That's too much paint. I'll pull it up on the file folder over here. Way too much paint. So before I started the show, I had those file folders. Where did they go? Oh boy, oh boy. Oh well, just roll it off in the other one. Too much paint for sure. See how you can start seeing, maybe you can't there, I can start seeing some of the paint underneath. And as I start seeing some of that orange and blackish paint coming, then I know, then I hope I can pull it up. Let's see. Because it's white with a little something, I'm going to see what happens. I bought new Tim Holtz deli paper, tissue wrap. The new design, but I do like. So I am printing with the print side down, or I'm pulling with the print side down. Got a little bit of white there. A smidgen. There we go. Prints must be amazing if dilutions or sprays transfer from stencil onto the paint. Oh yeah. I mean, we've done not just that, but we've done I did a video on it, and I probably won't be able to find. Oh yes, I know where it is. Once you have your paper down, for me, I haven't had too much of a problem pulling it up, but you got to make sure the paper's down, or else sometimes it dries. But I do like jelly plates with some spray inks and stencils. But anyway, I agree. If some of your dirty stencils, if your stencils had ink on them, yeah, it definitely transfers into the wet paint. All right. Now, could be a hot mess. Yep. A hot mess. Didn't work out, but sometimes that's what happens. Just gotta let it go. So I'm not gonna, for the sake of time, I'm not gonna clean it. Yeah, for the sake of time. Because I'm lazy, I'm not gonna clean it. Hey, Di. Good to hear that Ellie's out. So good to hear for sure. Alright, so I'm going to use some gel medium. We're going to get this bad boy out. And I'm going to use the same stencils, right? Once I put down some of these papers, then we're going to take the same stencil and do your regular, you can do your spraying or spouncers, makeup wedges, and that'll give you, you know, the negative and the positive, and it'll work nicely together. Okay. So the way I work, you guys know that this is the journal. This is a magazine journal that I've been working in, that I'm kind of just prepping for me to take on my trip. And let's try it on this background. I believe this is an artist seller stencil too. I could be wrong. I'm pretty sure. Gears, but there's gears over here and there's gears over here, but I'm kind of liking that. That maybe I want to see that if I put some of this deli print down, right? Am I going to see? So let's see. I have one here. It's not quite dry. I'm just going to rip it. Because I want to, this might be a good test to see what comes through and what doesn't. Oh, it's because you can't, let me turn my links off. You can't put a ... anything. Like if you're, you know, in conversation, you put ... When you do that, it shows an URL. Turns it into an URL. Oh, right. Or URL. So I think this might be a good test, this page. See what shows through. And see what doesn't. See what happens. Or maybe it's an option anyways. Maybe let's see. So I've just been adding layers. Like over here I did a deli printed from the Tim Holtz jelly printed tissue wrap from Tim Holtz. Oh, this needs something. This is perfect. Let's see what happens here. Alright, like I said, I'm just going to use some matte medium, which I cannot see in front of me. Excuse me. Definitely going to need some more of this soon. I looked at it at Michael's with my 50% off, but then I couldn't remember how much it costs at art. Sometimes, you know, Michael's, of course, sells, they expect you to use a coupon, so everything is so far, it's so inflated. The prices are so inflated that sometimes, even without a coupon, you know, even if you used a coupon, it's cheaper to buy things at the art store. You know, Blick's if you're in the States, or Curry's or Desserts here in Canada. Alright, here we go. So I put a coat down. And I didn't use any spray, so I am going to put some on top. If you were to use, you know, some sprays like Dilutions or Adirondacks and even the Lindy Stamp Gang, any of those that will reconstitute with water, you don't want to use gel medium on the top, or else you may just spread it all around. You can if you're gentle and fast. But, alright, so far, it's not completely translucent. In fact, I can't really see anything underneath it. But maybe that's just because I had that big print. So let's do another strip. And when I glue stuff like this down, you know, whether it's tissues, I shouldn't put the brush in my mouth. Tissues, napkins, anything like that. I just let it hang off the edge, and then it's so easy when it's wet or when it's dry just to rip it off. When it's dry, you'll get a better, more even edge. So don't worry about that until it's dry. Alright, I'm just going to continue to rip this and collage around. Let's see. So this piece definitely has less paint, so it has some areas that will hopefully that we'll be able to see. So I posted on Facebook, again, something that I said and I never finished, my thought, about, so as I make a list on what I'm going to bring on my trip, you know, I am going to be streaming, I'm going to be doing stuff like that, so I need to really plan what I'm going to bring, what I want to use. So I asked a question on Facebook what other people would bring, and not necessarily to remind me of what I need to bring, but I just like to it really, when you tell somebody that, okay, you're going for this solo, what would you bring? It kind of, I like to see what they say, you know? Is it stuff that they use the most? Is it more project specific? That type of stuff interests me. So I have, thank you to those who commented. I am having a good time and really appreciating reading all the answers. Alright, so that's definitely, I don't know if you guys can see it, but now I can definitely see through it there. Over here, not so much, probably because I had all that other, I don't know what I had, but over this one turned out really well. What was I trying to say? I had too much stuff going on in the background on that one. Oh boy, now is everybody going over to Facebook and commenting on it? I'm gonna get a million messages. So this paper is the one from Sam's Club, from the wonderful Janet that she got at Sam's Club. Alright, I'm going to go right over this girl's face. And the more translucent I get probably depends on how much matte medium or gel medium you're using as well. Do you really get it, if you really get it saturated? I just folded that over. And if you don't have matte, you know, matte medium, this is a brand made by Golden, you just need to use some type of matte polymer medium or acrylic medium. Or you could use Mod Podge. I really, you know, now I saw at Michael's the other day, Mitzi mentioned it, and then I went and looked at it at Michael's. They have colors of Mod Podge. So maybe what I was going to say is anytime I've tried it, I found that it goes yellow, but maybe they've changed it. It's definitely the consistency of Mod Podge. What I like matte medium is that you can use it for multiple things as well, right? It's a polymer emulsion with matting agent, useful for lowering gloss and viscosity of golden heavy body colors, and I add living over here, and or gluing things down. So you can thin paint, you can use it as a glue, you can use it as a resist, like we were using it with the alcohol inks the other day. It's probably a better idea if you put, you know, like our wonderful friend Dee Dee always says, if you put glue on the page, on the piece, and then on top, you might get more translucency. So I like that. So this is a type of stage that I would bring away, right? That I would probably leave it at this point to travel with, is what I'm trying to say. So that wasn't too bad. I like how it turns out. It's definitely thin. I can see underneath it. Let's see if you guys can see. Definitely can see through it. That's awesome. Loving it. So let's try some of the other ones. I'll get out different journals over here. Again, some of my leftover journals. Well, maybe we need to put something, let's see. So here, this is an old Lush catalog, a UK Lush catalog. And says that she got some Daler Rowney matte medium from Walmart and it works good. And so yeah, definitely check it out. I definitely like the Daler Rowney gesso. So this is an old UK Lush catalog. This isn't what catalogs look like. Lush catalogs look like in Canada or the US, unfortunately. Okay, so let's stick down. This will be good to try the parchment paper, and then we'll try the stuff that Jane gave me from Costco. So my intent with what I'm doing in my travel journal is to get it to a place where when I go down there, you know, I'm just doing finishing. So maybe I'll add a focal image, a quote, some collage, maybe some drawing and sketching on top, that type of thing. But then, of course, I do have to, like I say, I will be streaming at least once. So at least one Saturday. I mean, I'll be streaming more than that, but so I gotta plan. All right, this is parchment paper. Not easy to stick down, or as easy. It's a little bit thicker than the Deli paper for sure. Not too thick. I mean, don't get me wrong, but it's definitely thicker than Deli. But apparently all the Deli papers are different thicknesses as well, so. I think I'm dipping my brush in there, but it's not going all the way to the actual medium. All right. So let's see if I can use a card here to scrape it out some wrinkles. So I would say the verdict on this is that you can see it. You can see a little bit of what's underneath, but not really. It's cloudy. Definitely not. Definitely, yeah, I'm going to have to just do finishing pages, Angela. That's for sure. That's a good idea. Definitely not as translucent as the Deli paper. But I'll get some fun stuff out of it for sure. Parchment is, yeah, it's used in cooking. Like, bakers use it, you know, to line cookie pans and stuff. But it's definitely readily available in Canada. I'm not sure about anywhere else. Ah, oh, sorry. It wanted to go where it wanted to go, and I didn't want it to go there. I lied. See, now over here, it's not as translucent, but it's definitely translucent. I like it. So you can see, sorry, I'm looking at the chat, not looking at where, you can kind of see in there that you can see through it. Oh, it's definitely easier to see down here. You can see the writing from the magazine. So happy with that. Now I will take another book, and I'm going to add more layers to those. Hold on, we're just, like I say, this is how I would normally work. Rather than one project, if I'm doing something like collaging down jelly plated papers, I would do that for a while. I would just get a bunch of different journals and do that. The leopard print, that is Dollarama. This is $1 washi tape. Cheap washi tape from Dollarama, which is a dollar store in Canada. I'm not sure where you are, Mystic Pencil. Alright, let's find something else to put it on in here. Still working on this hot mess. Still working on that one. There might not be a page in here that I can successfully try this. Ooh. So I like what's going on here. So let's try something that, see what happens. If we put down this weird, we got, but that's what art journaling is all about. It's about practice, right? It's about playing. It's about not being a perfectionist. And, you saw all the journals I have where 50% of them aren't even finished pages, but it's about, for me, right? Because art journaling is so many things to so many different people. To me, it's about the play, it's about the practice, it's about expressing myself, it's about releasing anxiety through painting, right? Layers helps me. You can always tell if the messier my pages are, the messier my mind is, I always say. But you have to give yourself permission to play. And if that means taking, this is a clothing, a Dynamite clothing store mini catalog that came in the mail or the newspaper or something, junk mail. If it takes, using a piece of junk mail for you not to be a perfectionist, then I say try it. I say do it. Some people, they get the fancy journals. They get this ginormous Diane Reevely journal from Ranger, and we love it, right? But that can be very, very intimidating to somebody new. Or a molly, right? Because you don't want to ruin it. So if you're worried about that type of stuff, make something like this. Alright, so I'm taping this down. This is also, I wasn't even thinking. I looked at the color rather than which one I was picking up, which paper I was picking up, so this isn't the right, I wanted to use the one from Walmart here. What's the name again? Handy Wax? I want to use the Handy Wax one. Alright, just letting this dry. I just kind of go on an assembly line. Night, Corey. Alright. Let us see. Where can we add? Alright, so this to me needs a little strip of something. So let's try, and I want to use the other paper, the one from Costco. Alright, so this is that first, one of the first sheets that, and all we kind of got was the positive or the negative. I always get those confused. No matter how many times I study it, remember it, I just forget every time. Okay. Alright, it's going to look a little wacky there. Okay, we'll make it a full strip down. So already here I've got stencils going, some type. I've got stamping, paint, oh, look at that bad news. See that? So like I said, putting matte medium over dilutions could be a challenge. And so now I have blue matte medium. Let's go over here. It's going to be sticky. I'm gonna put that. That'll be stuck to something if I don't quickly move it. Okay. That was a little unexpected mishap. It is stupid. I shouldn't use the word stupid. It's silly because it wasn't unexpected. I just talked about that a couple of minutes ago about being careful about using. So the good, you know, this is the reason why I work in these journals. Not just to try different things, but to see what works and what doesn't work. You know, and then I try to remember for next time. So obviously putting a blueprint on top of blue, blue, and more blue is just not going to show up. It's translucent for sure. It's a little bit muddy over here because the dilutions that was on this part of the stencil ran, but definitely translucent. And you can see right here. Oop, maybe now you can. I don't have it glued down as well right there. See where it's a little bit more opaque? So that's kind of where you can tell where you need more glue. So one thing I suggest, if you don't like wrinkles, this may not be for you. This is wrinkly stuff. Alright, let's just rip it off there. But that definitely went in. So both the parchment, all three of them, I think, work equally well in my opinion. Except the parchment might be just slightly more opaque. It's not opaque though. Less translucent. Hey, I don't make this stuff up. And so that wasn't the right choice of color for that particular page. But let's go back over here. So we have some here. And which should I just tear that from? But let's add some of this blue and black. So I put two pieces down. Let's see, add a strip in the middle maybe, see what happens. So I could just spend hours like this, trying different things, moving it around. See, I'm auditioning this piece there and I don't like it. The colors don't go, it doesn't go. So rather than worrying about that, let's go back. Let's go back to the first parts here. Okay. Now maybe we can do some more work on top of this. Show you kind of what I normally would do. What time do we got? Oh, it's only 80 minutes. So the verdict is translucent paper, the cheapest craft paint, was junk. Didn't have enough pigment to really see anything. What else did I learn today? White paint doesn't show up very much either. It's a definitely more wrinkled look, kind of like a woodcut look. I stuck a stencil in my journal and paint. Oh yes, yeah, you gotta be careful. Don't stick stencils in your journal if they have paint on them, only if they have ink. So all the different types of deli paper are very similar in my opinion. I see that they have a similar look on the page, similar look off the page, except one's a little bit more cloudy, but you know, they all kind of work well. The parchment paper is thicker and a little bit more, has, you know, more opaque than the delis. Okay, So I'm going to take, my heat gun's not plugged in anymore because I plugged in my hair dryer. So I'm going to use my hair dryer setting on hot. Heat gun. Night CB Lisha. I don't know how to pronounce your name. I don't want to, unless I have to call the other CB Charlie Brown. But good night. Thank you so much. Good to see you. Oh, God. So before I work on top of anything, I want to make sure the matte medium is dry. Okay. So let's clear out some of these scraps. Stuff everyone. I'm so happy with this. It's different. Okay. And I'm going to use the same stencil, so let's make sure they're out. These, I'm going to have to fill the bathtub and put everything in there with me. Okay, so we got some greens and some oranges. Should I get out the color wheel? We're going to use some black. If I can find it, excuse me for a second. It's blue. I should have bought some black craft paint as well as the white. Oh, I just have to use this junk. This is the really cheap stuff, but so I'm just going to put a little bit on the table, and yes, I'm going to use baby wipes to wipe off paint through a stencil because it is my absolute favorite thing to do. Alright, so I'm going to cover these guys' faces, and remember I put matte medium on top of these jelly prints. Now there may not be matte medium on some parts of these pages, so we shall see what will happen. Alright, blend that out. So I'm not going to work on too much at a time because I am using the cheapest craft paint, which means it dries the quickest. It has the least amount of pigment and it dries the quickest. And you gotta be a little quick with this technique. Alright, so I'm going to use the stencils that are the ones that are kind of circles, especially this one. I really like this one. I'm going to throw it down, use a baby wipe. See, I want you to watch how many times I flip my baby wipe over, because I just kind of do it without thinking now, and sometimes I do it so fast you can't really tell. But when you're working with black paint, you know, get comfortable with using a lot of baby wipes, or else what's happening is you're moving the paint around rather than picking it up. Okay, so see how I left this part open over here? And I'll blend it in. And I did that on purpose so that, you know, we still leave the integrity of the page underneath. We get some of that peeking through. And I think it just really helps the look. So because there's matte medium over the Deli paper print, we'll still be able to see it. Now there's lots of paint that builds up when you do this on the underside of the stencil. So if you don't wipe it off in between, you just get more and more wetness or water from the baby wipe and you get more of a smudged image. So I really suggest that you clean it off in between. Depending what I'm wearing, I usually just wipe it on my pants, but not today. Alright. Like I said, the one thing I really like about Artist Seller stencils is that they're a little bit thinner than Crafters Workshop, I think. Very close. They might be, you know, a few millimeters, or not millimeters, but a few thousandths off. But you can kind of bend them around pages like that. Alright. So what do you do when this thing happens? I've got some black there. I'm just going to use my finger a little bit and blend it out. And then you can move it down here and wipe it back so that it blends a little bit. Just so that it looks now you have an element rather than your whole, I'm not sure how to explain that. What am I trying to say here? Rather than doing the whole page, you know, you can incorporate something and make it look like it fits there. Rather than, you know, whole stencils. That probably made 0 sense. But it made sense in my head. It really did. Drink some coffee, drink some tea. Alright, so before I do the other side, now you can see, oh, you see the jelly plate underneath, the deli print, the deli paper, the jelly printed deli paper. Am I the only one who thinks this is a tongue twister? And we can still see the magazine images underneath as well. So lots of cool, if you look at a close-up, you know, lots of cool things going on. And what you're seeing wet there is a really extra juicy baby wipe. Guess it gets wet sometimes. Okay. So over here, I've got a few more things I gotta think of. How do I want to do the same thing? Maybe I won't go into the spine on this side. Maybe I'll bring it down. And you can do the same thing with any color. I don't know why I chose black today. I guess that's just kind of mood I'm in. But the same technique works with any color of paint you want. And I know I do it all the time, but it's because I like it. It's not the only thing I know how to do, but right now it's the thing I like to do the most. And because I like doing it, I will continue. Okay, so it's mostly a dry brush, right, guys? And you get those, you know, when I'm going out this far, you see that that's a pretty much no paint on the brush. Not just dry, but no paint. Getting all that paint out. Okay, but over here we're only going to do 2, right? Because I still think in 3s, even though this one's not a full one. In my head, I still think in odd numbers. So let's see, maybe on this side of the page, and instead of that stencil, we'll go with the matching, not the matching, but the other one that's a circle like that. So lots of times if I'm using a very dirty baby wipe, you know, get the good amount of paint off first and then go in with a cleaner baby wipe to kind of get the rest of it off, or else I just find it gets really muddy, right? You want to wipe that paint completely off. So again, there's lots of paint on the underside of that. You can try spraying it over on something else. I don't have that much luck doing that or getting much of an image off of it. Alright. And I have one right there. I'm telling you, if you buy baby wipes from Costco, they definitely don't go bad. Even if it takes you a couple years to use them. These ones are juicier than ever. See, almost too juicy. Alright. I did add water to that container, so it's probably, that's the reason, not the reason. I'm just off to the side here, just kind of getting the moisture from underneath the stencil. Because what happens, see how this one is, we'll have to show you here in a second. It's not as clean as the first one because the more moisture from the baby wipe that you add to it, the more it starts to smear underneath. So I'm just blending it out so that it looks like it's, you know, there on purpose. And not being too attached, because some of these places over here don't have any, I'm way off screen. Some of these places don't have much matte medium on it, right? So it's going to sink into the paper. It does have a layer of craft paint, if you remember. So this is very muddy. See, I don't know if you can tell if that's muddy or not. I really got to make sure I've got a cleaner spot on my baby wipe. So see how much, it's not really black paint. It's just the, well, it is black paint, but it's the residue, you know, just from moving it around. So either get a brand new baby wipe or something. I find that this extra step really helps in making your pages not look so muddy when you're adding all these layers. Like it's just a little bit of something. I want to get off. All right. So I mean, you could play with this for as long as you want. So one thing, see, this is awkward to me. I have a round, you know, a round stencil, and this is round. Doesn't quite look like it belongs because, you know, I cut these ones off, right? So let's just blend that out. Move it just a little bit. And again, I'm just continually flipping my baby wipe around. Oh, I like it. Okay. Except, you could play with that forever. Except now I'm thinking, you know, when I think of composition, right? And I think of odd numbers. Okay, so yeah, I got 1, 2, you know, 3, 5 stencils, right? 5 stencil spots. And oh yeah, Cathedral series from Artist Seller, one of my favorites. The gear, there's a gear one, I can't remember the exact name. Oh, the one that's water, the water one with the coral and everything. Anyways, I like them all. Okay, we could go on forever. But when I look up at the camera, I don't see 5 things. My composition looks off now because it's not the stencils anymore that's, you know, that's affecting the composition, the number of stencils. It's the black areas. So I have 1, 2 areas and not a third one. Even if I just do a little tiny something, I'm gonna have to do a little tiny something down there. And I got black paint all over that. I hope that makes sense to somebody. Those are the type of things that go through my mind. And maybe it's not the right rules of composition. I'm just explaining to you how I work through something like this. How I say that something just doesn't look right to me. So I'm just going to put a little bit down here somewhere. And when I say a little bit, I mean just a little. Alright, I'm going to use this stencil, the same one that I used on this page. And now we can. Got too many baby wipes with too much black paint on them. Alright, sorry guys, just need one more baby wipe here. Clean up that hot mess at the bottom. I do want it to make sure it's separate. So I'm not sure if that made it better or worse. But that's kind of what goes on in my head, because now I feel like there's something, needs something to be there. I mean, we could go on forever, but let's heat gun. Let's dry this. And again, I'm using my hair dryer because I've been using the cool setting of the hair dryer on the Gelli plate, and because that's plugged in, my regular heat gun's not plugged in. The only reason why I'm using a hair dryer, not a heat gun. Let me just clean this up before I get back paint everywhere. Okay. Heat gun. Washi tape, yep. Joyce is getting out her dusty horse blinders and passing them around. Hair dryer, hot. Yeah, this is the hot setting. I don't know if it's louder for you guys or not. I don't know if it's louder for you guys or not, but okay. So we have lots going on here, but I like it. So I want to show you over here what happens if you have too much moisture on your baby wipe. See how it's kind of fuzzy? Well, now you can't see because of the, hold on. So the first one, let me see. This is the first one, and I didn't wipe the second one. I didn't wipe enough moisture off the back of the stencil before I put it down in the second one, causing more of a, and maybe that's the kind of look that you want, more of a fuzzy look compared to this side. All right, so I'm gonna do something opposite. We did use some orange, you know, cadmium orange hue that looks like purple. So I think I'm going to do a top layer on that. Now I know this journal's supposed to be finished, you know, it's supposed to be for my trip, but I'm feeling it, so I'm going to go with it. I'm going to get a spouncer, or a makeup wedge, shall we say. I'm going to make sure all this black. And I just use I have lots of palettes, you know, things around, but I use my matte more than anything else. Yeah, it starts loud. Yeah, then my computer, my camera, excuse me, background noise thing kicks in, whatever you call it. Noise canceling. That's right, Sharon. Thank you. All right. And I had to screw that off because it's stuck there. So this time I think what I'm going to do is do the opposite. So on this side we use this stencil, and I don't know the name of the you know, individual stencil. So I think I'm going to use that stencil on this side and this stencil on that side and see what happens. So now we're going to get the opposite. I'm using a brand new sponge, but that's not a big, this is something wrong with this paint. It is not right. I'm going to have to use some craft paint cadmium orange. You know when your paint, like it seems translucent, like it's not mixed or something, which is quite possible that something could have happened to it because maybe I left the lid off. All right, so we'll go in the same color, just in Americana craft paint. Well, it's still too translucent. So I already know this isn't going to turn out so well. I can already tell. That it's too translucent of a color. Okay, so instead, I'm not going to move that stencil. I'm just going to probably wipe this up. Something isn't right. Too translucent. Let's go into a deeper purple, maybe like a dioxazine or some such thing. Yeah, let's try some ultramarine blue. see, I have a real, no, I don't know what kind of matte. I'm just going to wipe this right back off, guys, because see how I don't want a translucent color in this section, at this stage, because I already have too many busyness stuff on the go, right? And adding just another layer of something translucent, it would just, in my opinion, muddy it up more. So I just wipe that off, and I can do that because there's already paint and matte medium and such on it. Yeah, or the matte is bad. So yeah, I have a real Ranger one. I know that you can buy, but there's no problem. When my paint is dry, I mean, look, okay, now this is dry, and I don't even using anything, and I can scrape it off. I don't even have to wet it. So I'm not sure what kind of mat you're using, Stephanie, or what, if something happens. It does get old though. It does get, Jess is right, it does get beat up and wrinkled every once in a while. But so this is bright. Now, where did I put the stencil? Oh. After all that, see what happens. Definitely want something darker. So again, I'm hanging the stencil off the page. That's just what I like to do. Plus, I think it looks good. Maybe it's not a maybe you're not using a non-stick mat. Even this is still too light. It's still a little translucent. Don't like it. But you gotta work through the ugly. So I'm just gonna do one there, I think. It needs, let me take a sip of tea. I just think it's too busy. I'm changing my mind again. And I don't do that often. Well, it's not all the time you can do that, right? It's not all the time that you have the option if you're because you're working on paper that doesn't have any matte medium or paint on it or whatnot. But I do have that blue there, so I will use it on a different page, just not that one. Too much black there already. All right, but it might look good over here. Have that there. See what happens. Is it? Yeah, I have to find out from Stephanie later. Okay. That's a little bit better. So I do like that these, I love how these look. Let's do this one over here. I also like how, this series and the sacred geometry, they go so well together. So I just like to use up what's around me. So obviously that blue now has a lot less strength. So I want to, meaning now it's more translucent. But I want to combine, I don't know if combine is the right word, but tie these two pages together. So I also like that you get stencils that are square and circle. Oh my goodness. Okay, need a little bit more paint. But does anybody have any questions? I don't know if anybody learned anything tonight or if there was any, but I had a good time. I have about 5 sheets of, or more sheets of Gelli printed Deli papers that I'm going to put in my travel journal. I'm sure you don't want to see that live on camera. It could be boring. Alright, so I still have too much paint out here. Let's see. So this was just where I took that white print lift off and it didn't, nothing too interesting happened with it. I had too much paint on there, so let's do some over stenciling. Thanks, Jane. Yeah, I had some fun. I learned some stuff. And you know, that's why I do this. Because it's fun. A bit of something there. I used way too much paint, that's for sure. Way too much. That almost looks, to me, this stencil could be used as snowflakes, you know. And that's why I like, you know, you can turn it, it could be a flower, it could be a snowflake. It all depends on what, you know, what's around it. It could be just something abstract. But that really, on top of the white there, that's looking pretty Christmassy to me. Little Christmassy. Alright. Sorry, I just used up some paint. Does anybody have any questions or any? Thanks, Mystic Pencil. I don't know if you said what your name was and I missed it or not. I apologize. Ooh. See, sometimes it's just serendipitous, right? I open that up and that's just calling. This is just calling for this blue paint and this stencil over here. I just can't stay too late tonight because tomorrow I'm going to my sister's house. My dad is coming over. And I can't stay up late tonight because I have things to do. Ah, ooh. I just love that. Sorry, I get excited. Oh, I wonder if Sharon, do you have cats? I know you have some dogs. Nikki. I have to write. Usually, if I write down once, I'll remember. Thank you for sharing. Okay. You know, sometimes when I see people, you know, Facebook, Twitter, sometimes I get confused of who is who, where. All right. So I guess using deli paper or parchment paper or Tim Holtz tissue wrap is just another option when using your jelly plate. And that's what I'm really liking about it so far is that, I mean, it's just endless of the amount of things you can do with it. And I mean, and everything is variable, right? The paper choice, or not even just the paper, but the substrate, you know, whether you're, I mean, you can jelly plate onto anything. So I'm really, really enjoying it. And I hope nobody's getting sick of it anytime soon. All the cat people raised their hand. Oh boy. Yeah, absolutely love that. That turned out well on that one. So I appreciate you guys spending some time with me. If you didn't watch the last stream that I did was it yesterday when I was showing some hauls and gifties, I did want to update what we did with the alcohol inks. Very, very, very happy. This is also artist seller stencils. It was the quasi crystals stencil, and this is what I was showing. I showed pictures of it. But in my last video, you see a lot better color than the lighting that I have now. But I really, really like how it turned out. Thanks to Barb for inspiring me to get out my alcohol inks again. And we also had this other page, which now I don't know where that. I had that Dilutions journal, which is ginormous. How can I lose it? Oh, it's under all my other journals that I just throw everywhere when they're dry. So Good Fun with Alcohol Inks. Check that out. I did upload part 1 onto YouTube already because we did do it in over a couple of days. So all of these stencils from the Quasi Crystal series. And I really think that the Quasi Crystal series goes so well with the ones we were using. Oh, there it is again. Tonight. So we had some fun then. So check out that video, and thanks for watching tonight. I will tweet, and well, usually I start with Instagram, but very happy. I mean, look at the cool. Remember how I said that this stencil to me looks like it can be a flower or a. I mean, look at how that print came. To me, it looks like a daisy now. And I mean, it was no such thing, right? It was one of these ones. But absolutely love them. Check them out over at artistseller.com. Again, I don't get any commission, but it does help me if you let her know that this is that I sent you. But as always, so wonderful to see you. Not sure if Laurel's going to stream tomorrow, but I've got lots to do this week. Lots of prepping, and so shall be streaming at least twice in the morning this week, as well as Wednesday night. But thanks everybody. I truly appreciate everybody coming, seeing and meeting new people, seeing some wonderful friends, our Sharons. Good to see you guys again, as well as everybody that's normally around. I love you all. Alright guys, have a great night. I shall stop the recording.